We are going to begin drafting our nightstand in CAD, computer-aided drafting software called Rhino. So open a blank version of Rhino, and once your screen has opened, we are going to start by coming to our File menu, selecting New, and we're going to make sure that we are designing in the appropriate units, which in this case, we're going to choose the Small Objects Inches template so that we can design our nightstand in inches, and we'll hit OK. I'm going to put a picture in the background using the picture command of the nightstand and the cutting list that I will need. So I'm going to find this image that I've saved. I'm going to hit open. I'm going to just put this image in the background so we can refer to this as we start drafting our nightstand. You don't need this on your file. At this point, double click on the front view and let's go and design in our perspective window. So come to the upper left hand corner and double click on perspective so that we are designing in our perspective window. The first thing we're going to do on this is we are going to design two sides. You can see our nightstand is going to consist of two sides, two shelves, two top frames, a toe kick, and a top. And the first thing we're going to do is design the basic case, which is two sides and two shelves that fit into this groove, which is called a dado. So to begin with, we are going to select our 3D box option, which is right here, this blue box. I'm going to click on that box, and in your command line, it's going to ask you for the first corner of your box. And I'm going to type in 0 and hit enter. And this is going to establish my first corner of my side that we're going to design on our length. Now in your command line, it's going to ask you for the other corner, or the length. The length from our template here is 23¼ So I'm going to type into my command line 23.25 and hit enter. And now I have established the length of that side, and I am going to now, if I look at my command line, need to establish the width. And the width here from our cutting list is 12 inches. So I'm going to, in my command line, type in a 12 and enter. And now, because this is an actual object, it needs to have some three-dimensional height, and the thickness of everything that we're going to design over here is 3/4. So I'm going to type in 0.75 and hit enter. And I have now created my first side. To see this as a solid, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to pull down my perspective window, and I'm going to select shaded so that I can see that as a shaded object. I've now got my first side done, and I want to rotate this so that it is vertical. So I'm going to make sure my gumball is selected at the bottom. I'm going to click on my side, and with my side selected now, I want to rotate this about the green axis. So I'm going to single click on my green, and I am going to type in 90. And that is going to rotate this 90 degrees. And now I have this side standing vertically like it will in our nightstand. I want to put this back to my 0, 0 point so that I can be designing from 0. So I'm going to select this. In my command line, I'm going to type in move and hit enter. At this point, I need to make sure I have my object snap on down here and my end box checked. I'm going to zoom in and make sure I snap to this corner, the lower left corner, and once I've snapped in, I'm going to click. And now in my command line, it's going to ask me the point to move to, and I'm going to type in 0 and enter. And now I have moved my nightstand side to 0. So we now have one side done. We want to make a second side, and we're going to do that by making a copy. So we're going to select our nightstand, and in our command line we're going to type in the command copy, C-O-P-Y, and hit enter. For the point to copy from, we're going to click on that same point we did before. We're going to snap into the lower left hand corner, and we're going to select that. And now you can drag that on your screen. But we want to move that to the point that it is going to be. So we want to move that 13¼ inches over. And to do that, in the command line where it is asking for the point to copy to, I'm going to type in 13.25, comma, 0. So I'm moving it 13¼ inches in the X and 0 inches in the Y, and I will hit enter. And now that I've finished my command, I'm going to hit enter one more time. And now we have finished designing the two sides of our nightstand. The last thing we want to do to finish this is we are going to put our sides on their very own layer. So I'm going to come over to my layer tab, this little ice cream cake icon, click on new layer, and with the new layer created, I'm going to type in sides. I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to make it a nice bright red. Now I'm going to select my sides. I'm going to click on my first side, hold my shift key down, and click on my second side. I'm going to come to the sides layer and right click, and I'm going to say change object layer. And now I have those on their own layer so that we can separate them from the rest of the file. And we have finished designing and drafting the sides of our nightstand.